and denounced the West for its involvement in the Iraq War. It's a platform many people feel he should not have been allowed, none more so than Michael J. Wildes, the mayor of Englewood, New Jersey, an area which lost 38 people in the Lockerbie bombing. Mr. Wildes has campaigned to keep Colonel Gaddafi out of America. Very good morning to you. Thank you very much indeed for staying up to talk to us. What then was your reaction, bearing in mind all that, what was your reaction when you saw Colonel Gaddafi addressing the UN?
Good morning, John. What a rant that was. I'm an immigration lawyer by trade, and I can't tell you how disappointed I am that the government did, in fact, issue a visa allowing him on U.S. soil after he had the audacity and admitted to his complicity, and then gave a hero's welcome to a convicted terrorist. This was just a waste of energy and oxygen to say that the Israelis had something to do with the death of John Kennedy and for all of the allegations that he went. What was even more dismal was the scene outside of the United Nations to see the thousands of Nation of Islam supporters that he bought with his oil money to bring, some form of credibility to himself. This mayor, this father, this Jew will never forget those 38 souls that were killed. And I'm glad that he didn't sleep in my city limits and that we were able to keep him out and not erect that tent. This man did not deserve a red carpet nor a white tent.
One can well understand your anger and your concern, particularly what happened to your neighbours in that area of New Jersey. Nevertheless, many people would argue, Mr. Wildes, that in the end, in most situations, you have to offer some kind of reconciliation. We had to offer it. In the end, we had to talk to the IRA, despite the bombing campaign they conducted in Ireland and on the mainland of Great Britain here. Do you not see that point?
Maybe you do. Maybe Europe can barter its soul when it comes to oil. We don't, and we shouldn't. This war on terrorism cannot afford an intermission. We cannot allow a person whose DNA and his son is following suit in giving a hero's welcome to a convicted terrorist. Oil does not beget the loss of principle. The people who lost their lives here, I would have rather have seen a video feed herald itself on the UN floor than give this moment, this gentleman, if you call him a gentleman, a day on U.S. soil. This was the wrong time and the wrong message. And as our administration and as the West and all of these governments make overtures to rogue states like Iran, Libya, and Syria, let us remind ourselves of the relationships we bore during the days of the Mujahideen with Osama bin Laden and the vulnerabilities that we all have. Again, I'm an immigration lawyer in the United States by trade. We have to assess our vulnerabilities, the intelligence value that we lose, the ground that we lose by giving legitimacy to individuals that would rather see Americans or others dead.
But do you lose ground? Do you lose ground, Mr. Wildes? Because that performance yesterday was bizarre, to put it mildly. Didn't Colonel Gaddafi, in effect, as far as the rest of the world is concerned, shoot himself in the foot and appear, quite frankly, well, a very odd human being, to put it mildly?
I don't want to clean up the mess. John, I don't want to clean up the mess. In my community, he owns property and for the last 3 decades hasn't paid a nickel towards property taxes. I don't want him sleeping in my city, and I don't want him to shoot himself in the foot because then I have to clean it up. A few hours ago, somebody threw something onto his property in our community, and we now have a police car posted in front of his property. The bottom line is this man, this country, under his leadership, a dictatorship, is bringing no value other than oil. And what they can do with their oil is buy support and buy camaraderie and buy credibility and legitimacy. I think we've all learned and have graduated from this, and it's a measure of principle. Whether you are a mayor, whether you're a lawyer, or whether you know somebody that died in one of these tragic atrocities. The Pan Am 103 victims here are ashamed. I'm embarrassed as an American to see this man step foot and speak the way he did. I would rather he sleep in a barge on the East River or in a UN compound than summarily be escorted out of this country. He was on the terrorism watch list for the longest of years. Let us not forget that.
Okay, we are obliged, and thank you very much.